Well, hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful day. Me, I am having a very aggravating day. I've already made this video now twice and have had some audio issues. But we're good. We're here now. But I wanted to take the time, I'm going to be brief, posted about a place, another magical place down in Pike County, a toxic site from a company called Parker Hannafin. Almost sounds like a bad name, or you have to spit it out or something like, yeah, that Parker Hannafin. All jokes aside, this is another toxic location in Pike County, Ohio. You'll notice from the graphic, you'll see the Waverly Walmart. And probably asking, why is Waverly Walmart my graphic? Well, it's because the land that it sits on is toxic. Let me show you a map real quick. I'm going to bring this up. You have this map from the EPA. Down at the right-hand corner, which would be actually the north east portion of the property, you see the former Parker Manufacturing Building. Right next to it, you see another building, kind of in the central section of this property. That's Walmart. Across this entire parcel of land, you have a toxic plume of things such as TCE, trichloroethylene. A lot of nasty chlorinated solvents are here. Sounds very familiar, don't it? This site is very similar to wherever. Different type of manufacturing happened here. This place did a lot more polishing and brazing and stuff like that. And they had a system where they had these wells that were just basically meant to contain whatever they dumped into the ground. Problem was, portions of this area and where these toxic chemicals were settling is actually even below the water table, which allowed nasty stuff to migrate through the groundwater from the northeast portion of this property all the way to the southwest to PP Creek. Yeah, it's a funny name. In Pike County, we've got PP Creek, PP Township. It's a name you'll never forget. Promise you that one. But we have all this land, and we have this toxic plume under it that stretches from the building all the way to PP Creek, which then flows into the Scioto River. Of course, why wouldn't it? All the nasty stuff comes down the Scioto River. Columbus, Circleville, Chillicothe. And then it scoops up this stuff, grabs a little bit more at the atomic plant, and keeps on trucking down to the Ohio River. But Parker Hannafin is a manufacturing site that has been around since, I believe, the 50s, on up into the 80s before it was shut down. But it left behind a toxic mess. And that's what you see on this map in these circled areas. Portions of the property that have the highest TCE levels. Levels that are above what is deemed safe. Now, I'm not going to play into this mythological thing where, these plumes, these chemicals magically move past this place or slide under here and like wherever. They say that it just bypassed Mary Lou Patton Park. There's no toxic plume that could have touched it. Same way all the radioactive stuff at Piketon, at the atomic plant, can't get outside the magical force field. It's BS, folks. Basically, if you've got puddles on the northern end and the southern end of this property, then I'm sure there's something in the middle. Well, there is. It's called a Walmart. And the problem is with these toxic chemicals, these chlorinated solvents, you have to worry about vapor intrusion. This is a big thing with wherever. Brought it up many, many times. These chemicals have vapors, fumes that rise up through soil. They'll follow utility lines. They'll come up through the concrete. If you got cracks in your concrete and your foundation, there's an access point. Kind of like radon and how it gets into people's homes. I have never seen any documentation, any testing that was ever done for sub-slab gas at the Waverly Walmart. You built this place on top of this site. Now, obviously, they have done some remediation. And from the reports I've seen, Parker Hannifin did more than Alcoa did with Wherever. I'll give them that. But it's not clean. They had this 30-year closure period where they did the monitoring, did all the remediation, everything. And in this 30 years, it was supposed to be ready to go for redevelopment. Well, it is being redeveloped, but they're also asking for a 10-year extension. In October, the environmental management company that oversees Parker Hannifin's property here, the monitoring wells, all that stuff, asked for a 10-year extension to continue doing the work. Now, the way I read into this, if a site was clean and they knew it was clean and it's ready to go, then why would a company volunteer to continue to do it for another decade? Now, granted, maybe they're getting some kickbacks, maybe there's some money involved, I don't know. But the way I see it is, they know this is not cleaned up enough for a complete redevelopment. And they're asking for 10 more years of monitoring it to see if it's safe enough. But at the same time, they're going ahead and redeveloping it. We have a Walmart in the center of it. And right where the old manufacturing is, from what I'm being told, I'm going to take a ride down to Pike County maybe this week to do some videos. They're building an Aldi's. So you're about to have two retailers, large retailers, franchised retailers, on this toxic land. Now, the interesting thing is about Walmart. I wonder if the folks down in Benton, Arkansas, at Walmart headquarters, knew the history of this place before they bought the property. Walmart is not just the largest retailer on the face of the earth. They are also one of the largest real estate investment companies on the face of the earth. They own these parcels of land where they put the Walmarts. And you have a Walmart in nearly every city in America. So I wonder how much research they did. Was there other testing that was done? I don't know. Because all we have to go on is what's publicly available, or what you can sue to get. But from what I have seen, and I went through the whole laundry list of EPA links on all these documents, and I'm talking hundreds. There's hundreds of EPA reports on Parker Hannifin at this particular site. Not one or two, there's hundreds. Trust me. If you don't believe me, get on the EPA's public portal, look it up yourself. But with that being said, this is a dirty site. And it's still dirty. But yet you're actively putting businesses on it. You wouldn't do this at Wherever. You wouldn't build a business over top of one of the plumes there because, you know, at least in that situation, there's enough understanding to realize that this stuff is nasty, it's serious. There's portions of the Wherever building where the gas, the subslab gas, has been measured 17 million times above EPA regulatory limits. It's dangerous. Vapor intrusion can kill you. Now, am I saying that this site is as bad as Wherever? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is nowhere near to the size and caliber and the seriousness of Wherever. But it's a tool. It's something to educate folks on that you're redeveloping land that was toxic. And yes, we want to reuse it. But if it's still toxic, then you're just passing the buck and you're creating a mess later on down the road. So that's what I'm saying. Parker Hannifin is a toxic site, but it's not nearly the caliber of Wherever. But it's one that we don't overlook because it still impacts people's lives. I mean, just think about the sheer number of people that go to a Walmart on a daily basis, especially one in Waverly and Pike County. That's a central location. Everybody goes there to get their food, their clothing, the supplies, whatever it may be. And I apologize for the doggy in the background. The little claws are going click, 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 click on the hardwood floor. But that's what we're dealing with when we talk about the Parker Hannafin property. It's toxic. Is it the worst? No, but it definitely is not the best either. It's not clean. So the more you're redeveloping this, you're stirring that stuff up, there's more risk involved. Until you can definitively say that every bit of this TCE, all the chlorinated solvents, all the nasty stuff in the ground has been completely pulled out, treated, and removed, you cannot prove that this place is safe. You can't prove that land where they built Walmart is safe. Now, if I was in the news and whatnot whenever they was building Walmart, I would have definitely been on the front lines to bring this issue up. And I'm surprised others haven't, and maybe they have, and I am unaware of it. If I am, if you spoke out against them building the Walmart on this property, please, I humbly apologize. But the fact still remains, Parker Hannafin left behind a mess, and they're building an Aldi's, they built a Walmart, and you have a field that's still farmed, and there's known information out there that shows TCE in particular, is what I really studied, can be absorbed into things such as corn. Corn is very hard on the soil. It is really needy. It pulls in all the nutrients, everything it can get from the soil that it's in. And in cases where you have a field that's being farmed over top of a toxic plume or an area where there's contamination, absolutely that corn will absorb it as well. So then we have to talk about, like I've said down about wherever, we have to talk about chemicals getting into the food chain. Whether it's being corn used for farming or other needs or whatever, you're still introducing another toxic waste stream into this industry where it's not supposed to be. It's an invasive species. It's an invasion, whatever. However you want to paint it, whatever terminology you want to use, it's serious. Let's just call it what it is. It's serious. And that's like this site here. If we're looking at the Walmart in this picture, to the left is the field. To the right is where the old Parker Hannafin building was. If you'd like to see pictures of the exterior of the old Parker Hannafin manufacturing plant, I have them on my Facebook page. Feel free to check it out. I've also got some more documents that I have added to this discussion about the Parker Hannafin site. It's toxic. It's still toxic. That's why the company that's overseeing it asked for a 10-year closure extension. Speaking of Facebook, if you would like to comment on that, I sent the information, posted that, and also the email address that you want to send your public comment to. Because the EPA, absolutely, they will publish what you write to them. They have to. So if you want to speak about this Parker Hannafin site, here's your opportunity to do so. Especially in regards to this, not 1 year extension, not 2 year extension, it's a decade. It's a decade closure extension. Post-closure, I should say. Yeah, so instead of the company cutting tail said, oh, we're done, we're good, they went and said, no, things ain't copacetic yet. We've got some work to do, or some more monitoring that needs to be done. So that's where we are. This particular portion of land is very similar in hydrology and geology to wherever. It's a little more coarse gravel, more, fine gravel. It's not quite the sand silt mix that we see at wherever and in Chillicothe, but it's very similar, and the EPA records say that the aquifer under this site is highly susceptible to contamination, just because of the geological and hydrological makeup of this parcel of land. So, in essence, talking about Parker Hannafin, I'm planning on going down to Pike County sometime because I want to see pictures and take video all these being built, and try to ask more questions, because the vapor intrusion issue to me is the most serious, with this, as we're building more businesses on this parcel. Um, that's something that has to be looked at, because we're talking about people's lives. We're talking about health and safety of communities. We can't just glance over it. So that's where we are. And like I said, I wanted to jump on here again, because I made, literally, this is video number 3 where we've had technical difficulties. And if for some reason this one has technical difficulties, there won't be a 4th. We'll just hold off and add that to the next episode of the Fallout Files. But Parker Hannafin, Waverly, Ohio. You, my friends, are nasty. He left behind a nasty mess. So I'm going to continue to dig into the history and the toxicity of the Parker Hannafin site, see what else I can find. Because like I said, I had a general understanding. I knew of this site, but had no clue that they built a Walmart over top of a TCE plume. Had no clue. So as I discover new things, I try to share them, because I get excited about it. I get excited every time I make a new discovery, and I want to share that with everybody. So I put that out there, put the information out there for you to do your own research. Never take my word for it. Never, ever. This is a life lesson. Now, let's just be flat out honest. Never take anybody's word for anything. You know, especially online or in the news, whatever. Do your own research. See, I'm one of those ones that want you to fact check me. I want you to do the research. I want you to find the same things I do. And if you find something different, I want to know about it as well. See, that's how this information goes. It's how we grow. It's how we bring other people in and teach them and educate them about these toxic sites. This is how we change things for the better, so we can learn from these previous mistakes, so future generations don't have to fight the same battles that we are. Battles such as wherever. Battles such as the atomic plant. That's what I want. So I won't hold you much longer, but we still got a lot more to talk about. There's going to be some new episodes, because I am working on something other than working with Chillicothe City Council and Dr. Ketterer. We're really going to start digging into the PFAS, the forever chemicals, because I learned some interesting things about DuPont and Circleville. Found some interesting documents. Talks about a whole lot, and when I mean a whole lot, a lot of toxic releases at the DuPont plant in Circleville, Ohio, right up the road from good old Chillicothe. About, what, half-hour south of Columbus? So we've got a lot of things working on. Digging into a lot of this toxicity, because we're going to expose it. Because there needs to be accountability. These companies need to be held accountable. The communities that have allowed this stuff to happen need to be held accountable. The politicians, whoever it is, needs to be held accountable. This is health and safety of entire communities we're talking about. That's why I take what I do very seriously. So you can call me one of those tree hugger types if you want. I really don't care. Call me a tree hugger. I'll hug a tree. I don't care. Because that tree has value. Same way the workers at these toxic sites had value. The community has value. We're not just numbers on a screen, not just demographics. We have value. And I'll be damned if I'm going to continue to allow the government and corporations to treat communities and people as anything but valuable. So, until next time, everybody, take care of yourself, take care of our environment, and we are holding the powers that be accountable. We ain't going to let them keep doing this anymore. Y'all have a great remainder of your week and stay tuned. Like I said, we got a discussion coming very soon about DuPont. Till next time. My name is Jason Sally. I am an investigative journalist, the founder of the Ohio Atomic Press, and the host of the Fallout Files.